Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's joining us online. Barbara and Barry and Sylvia and Kenneth. Oh, Ken, I hope you're feeling better. Good to see you. And other members, hopefully. And those of you who are joining us on live stream, it is the Friday night before Passover, so this is Shabbat Hagadol, and we'll sort of refer to our preparations for Passover throughout the service. Want to welcome Andrew on piano and Scott on guitar, and I'd like to invite. How about if the Cocos want to come up and light the candles together? Let's go. Come on. We begin our Friday night service with Psalm 95, Lechuna Ranana, on page 130. Lechuna Ranana, la Adonai, Naria, Litzor Yishenu. Lechuna Ranana, la Adonai, Naria, Litzor Yishenu. continue on page 131. Kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel v'tzedek, ve'amim be'emunato. Please join me on 133 at the bottom. We'll read in English. A psalm. Sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm, has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness towards the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Rise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. We're going to continue on page 134. Zamru Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, bachot tzvot tzvot v'kol shofar, hariu b'nei hamelech Adonai. Hiram hayam umlo, tevel join me on page 135, 3 lines from the bottom. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu le'har kosho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu le'har kosho. Kadosh Adonai We continue on page 136, Psalm 29. Great job, Andrew. First time with that Karl Bach. It's awesome. We're on page 138, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi. How does it go? Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekamela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekamela. Shavor v'zachur v'dibora, Bochemunei Am Segula Bo'i Chala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Lecha Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know. A fool cannot understand this. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Sadikatamar Yivra Ke'eres Balvanon We continue on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala u'vizman kariv v'meru amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam La'almei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha B'richu Li'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'meru amen. I invite you to rise for the Baruch Hu on page 146. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Turn to page 148. Please read with me at the bottom in English. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue on page 150 with Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael. I invite you to turn to page 152. Close your eyes. You know this by heart. And we're going to open with like a little English introduction. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. And then we'll go into Shema together. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Join me this time if you can. Please turn to page 154 and join me. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha, uvechol nafshecha, uvechol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinanatav levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha v'veitecha, uvelechtecha v'derech, uveshachbecha uvekumecha, ukashartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, lema'an tizikeru, va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitem kenoshim leloechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, emet. All this world we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are your Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior who delivers us from the oppressor's hands and saves us from the tyrant's fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps, as we will read on Wednesday and Thursday night. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom, for all time, freedom. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'chodesh, norat ve'ilot osei feleh, malchutecha ma'uvanecha, lokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Amen.
We continue with Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom v'hamidenu, shomreinu l'chaim, ufro O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and our coming to life and peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Changing the tone a little bit. This is a little more raucous. It sort of feels a little sacrilegious, but it's okay. We're going to do the Shamru on page 162. There's nothing sacrilegious about Shamru, just the melody. Shamru, B'nei Yisrael, met HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, L'dorotam Beridotam. Beini uvein B'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam, Oti le'olam, Oti le'olam. V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, L'dorotam Beridolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam beridolam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Okay, that was a good adaptation. I invite you to rise as we get ready to do the Amidah together. We're on page 164. After we do Adonai Shabbat Tiftach, it's an opportunity for some private meditative prayer. Feel free to use the liturgy in the book beginning on page 166, or use or share whatever in your heart that needs to be said. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. special prayer for the health of our democracy by Rabbi Oded Mazor. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, bless those who stand guard over democracy, equality, and peace, whether from our people or around the world, who will not stand idly by, but work for the repair of society in the face of threats to our system of justice and the rule of law. May the Holy One bless them and save them from all danger and distress, from all illness and infirmity, from all harassment and harm, and from any attempts to humiliate them or avert them from their mission in the struggle against apathy, indolence, and unwillingness to get involved. May their efforts be successful, and may they be blessed with a good eye to see injustice, a good heart that they never stop caring, and strength to continue working to protect the rights of every human being, because they are human beings, to establish justice and to make peace for every woman and man, for every child, for every human made in the image of God, and I would add, for all of God's creatures. And may the verse be fulfilled in them, for in return, Adonai, God, will bless you in all your efforts and in all your undertakings. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say Shalom be this time, we're going to offer a prayer for healing for those in our community and those in our lives who are struggling with health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, struggling with addiction, and just with what's going on in the world right now. It's sort of hard to keep a cheery demeanor. I'm going to read the names on the Mishaberach list in our community, and then I'm going to invite us to go around and for you to add the names of the people that are not mentioned here. Alan Boyarsky, Andrea Goldberg, Anita Muchnikoff, Barbara Bevins, Barbara Rothbart, Dale Scully, David Trackman, Ed Schechter, Elaine Sokol, Elaine Solomon, Evelyn Ma, Florence Nagler, Frankie Ayera, Jerry Feldman, Henry Cohen, Janet Capps, Janet White, Zach Pesner, Susan Grossner, Shirley Zaidman, Sheldon Weisbach, Rose Kaufman, Peter Gwastoff, Mindy Gladstein, Michael Hennig, Marlene Pfaff, Marilyn Gwastoff, Karen Guth, and Jerry Harmon. I'm also praying for Jim Gittleson. Are there other names to add? I'll start this way.
Carol Perlstein.
Thank you.
Marty Cole.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know, do people on Zoom have some names to share?
Marlene in Portico, Rosemary Conant, Kate Shanks, and Jeff Bonham.
Thank you. And for all those people in the world who need our prayers, let's send our loving wishes their way as we sing this together. Refuah Shlema. So, that's funny. My homiletics teacher, Eddie Feinstein, said, never begin your sermon with so, but I always do. So there you go, Rabbi Feinstein. I know. I wanted to, this is Shabbat HaGadol. It's the Shabbos before Passover. It's actually not one of the 4 special Shabbatot leading up to Passover. Those were Shabbat Shekalim, Shabbat Zachor, Shabbat Parah, and last week, Shabbat HaChodesh, as we were announcing the month, actually it was 2 weeks ago, a month of Nisan. But this is the great Shabbos. What was so great about it? Well, I mean, in some ways, it was like, if anybody here has been pregnant and knew that they were having a baby like next week, I remember every time we had a baby, I was like, oh my God, this is my last Shabbos before I actually have this baby. Like, what's it going to be like? And then we're going to know the baby, and it's going to be, right? So this is like this Gadol Shabbos, right? It's before the baby is born. Who's born this week? The people Israel, Am Yisrael. We come through the waters, we come through the Sea of Reeds. And what used to happen before there were synagogues and prayer books and a gazillion things that you could read all the time, people knew they had to get ready for Pesach. They knew what they had to do, but this was the opportunity for the rabbi to sort of do a serious 101 on how to kasher your home and what to do and what to get rid of and what you had to sell to the Goyish neighbor next door and all that stuff. And there were some other laws that had to do with Passover, but I mean, this was, what made it so big is that it would be a long day in shul because you were going to get your sermon, because they couldn't download the Rabbinic Assembly's Pesach Kasher Your Kitchen Guide, right? So that was it. What I wanted to do was spend tonight and tomorrow sharing a few ideas about Passover that I thought might be interesting for your Sidarim. So I want to talk first about Maror, and then we'll talk about the 4 questions. But it's really interesting. If you think about Maror and you look at any of the Haggadot that were done, the beautiful illustrations of Haggadot, let's say in the Middle Ages, that we still have, they were found in the Geniza or somebody had in the collection, and you look at Maror, it was a green vegetable, right, kind of like a piece of lettuce. It was interesting. There was nothing that resembled anything like a horseradish root. That was not in those beautiful books. And of course, these folios were made mostly in Spain, in southern Spain, where they could grow, where they could find lettuce, where they could find bitter lettuce or mustard greens or radicchio or something like that. I don't know what they had in Spain then, but it was possible to have something. But if you were in Siberia, I mean, if you think about it, the maror that we eat, you weren't going to find anything green in Finland or in Sweden or in, not at this time of year. This was when you'd start to plant that kind of stuff. So we had to have our bitter herbs, and probably all the Jews went into the root cellar and they said, well, the carrot isn't going to work, and the beet isn't going to work, and the rutabaga isn't going to work. Looks like we'll have to do horseradish, and that's how horseradish came to be our maror. But as a teacher of mine pointed out, that actually maror is not so much bitter. I mean, we can think about it as bitter as it's like hot and it's stingy, but bitter is really like bitter lettuce, or if you've ever had radicchio, that's bitter. And one concept that I think is so fascinating is the bitterness of our lives in Egypt itself was a journey. When we got to Egypt, life was pretty good. Like Pharaoh dug us, right? It was the old Pharaoh. He knew Joseph. We got some great land in Goshen, lived there, were prolific, had some farms, made some money. Who knows? I don't know what we did. But life was sweet in Egypt at first, but then it turned bitter. Almost inedible. And if you think about it, with some lettuces, you put it in your mouth and at first it tastes sweet, but when you chew it, that's when you taste the bitterness of the lettuce. So the idea that lettuce is much more reflective of the Jewish experience in Egypt starts off okay and then goes like, it's kind of, bitter. Now, of course, when you put lettuce in a salad, you put dressing on it, there's a lot of mix of flavors, but this is, so he was saying that one really interesting idea, and I love this idea. He said it was his best Seder ever, so I'm going to share it with you. And I don't know, I'm not hosting this year, so I don't know whether they will do this, but have a bunch of different greenery on your Seder table when it comes to the maror part of this, right? When you not the karpas, not the spring vegetable, but later when you go to Pesach month, and do a taste testing. Have like mustard greens and have radicchio and have, romaine and whatever. Just find a bunch of lettuces and see how people experience the taste, almost like, Top Chef or something. You'll taste and see what people feels most reflective of that kind of experience where Egypt started off okay and that got really icky. Right, and so that's just one idea that I wanted to share with you in the Shabbat HaGadol. And the other thing is with the 4 questions. They are so weird. Why are they weird? First of all, they all come together at the beginning, and then they're kind of never answered. Like as the Haggadah developed, it became a series of 4 different answers to 4 questions, but the answers to the questions really aren't the answers. My father was a wandering Aramean, has nothing to do with why do I recline. But the fact that these guys stayed up all night in B'nai Brak has nothing to do with why we dip twice, right? So that's a really interesting question. So 2 things to note about the 4 questions that you can talk about at your Seders. One is that our order, the Ashkenazi order, goes like this. How is this night different? Okay, that's the same. On all nights we eat either leavened bread or matzah. Tonight only matzah. On all other nights, all kinds of vegetables. Tonight only bitter herbs, which actually isn't true, but okay, that's interesting. On all other nights we don't even dip once, but tonight we dip twice. And all other nights we either eat sitting or reclining. Not good for you if you eat reclining. This night we recline. The Sephardim and the Italians did it differently. Their first question was, why do we dip twice? Interesting. And then it was matzah, and then it was bitter herbs, and then it was reclining. So they switched matzah, and they actually put our number 3 was their number 1, and our number 1 was their number 2, and so it moved around. And then, of course, the most interesting thing is that the original questions that were already prescribed in Mishnah Pesachim were these questions, which the rabbis had to adapt once the temple was destroyed. But that's, of course, how you know that we were already doing some kind of ritual like this before the Churban. But first of all, the first question is, why do we eat unleavened bread, right? And on other nights we could have both. The other question was, vegetables. Why do we can eat any vegetables? Why tonight only more? So those are the same. And then the third question, and there were only 3, is on other nights we eat meat roasted, stewed, or boiled, but on this night we only eat roasted meat. Well, we don't have that anymore. So, of course, there's lots of reasons for that. One is because it became sort of forbidden to actually, you're not supposed to eat lamb on Passover. They forbade it. Once the temple was destroyed, you could have a pot roast, and you could have a chicken as your meal, but you cannot eat lamb, according to halakha, which is fascinating. But the idea we had to do with the meat. And so if you think about it, so I just brought the Reform Haggadah that I found, and basically, the evolution of the Haggadah was just like all rabbinic literature. It was one generation of Mishnaic rabbis, then another generation of Mishnaic rabbis, then the Amoraim, the Talmudic rabbis, the early Talmudists, the middle Talmudists, and then finally the ones that came along in the 6th and 7th century. And they're all talking to each other through the ages. But what we do know is that at a certain point, after we sing Dayenu and everything's going pretty well, we get this. According to the Mishnah, this is the very end, right before we eat our meal. According to the Mishnah, Rabban Gamliel said, whoever does not consider well the meaning of these 3, Pesach, the roasted meat, matzah, and maror, has not fulfilled the purpose of the Seder. So the original Seder was quite short. It was those 3 questions, maybe a little discussion, and then this, and then they ate their dinner. And they weren't like, the 5th question was like, where's dinner? They ate. Whatever, who knows? So that was that. So I just want to give you a few thoughts for your Seder that you can do as far as questions are concerned. Rock Rega. Okay. So questions to ponder. First of all, here's a question you're going to have to ponder. I actually think I know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you. Why don't we ask why we have 4 cups of wine? Why don't we ask that? Good question. And why don't we, that's one question you could ask, and let's see what people say. And then the other questions you could come up with, issues and topics that you can debate over themes of Passover. And the other important thing is I just want to encourage all of you. I really so appreciated that Mitch gave me this prayer for democracy. The Seder is always meant to capture the dilemma that we live in the time that we live in it. So my urging to all of us is, no matter what happens, even though it's so important to do the rituals of the Seder, really make sure that we're talking about all the things that are enslaving us right now, that are limiting us, that could really set us back in time. It's just, notice that, we feel that once we were redeemed from Egypt, we were always free, even when we were living in terrible circumstances, because our freedom was in our will to understand and worship God as we want to. That's the real freedom, right? It's not about how many cucumbers you can buy in the store. But I do want to say that those things, our freedoms are in question, and that conversation piece might be interesting at your Seder table. So more is coming tomorrow, but I hope you all have a fun Seder. You can try the maror thing, and make it really meaningful and also very sweet. I wish you all a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. And we continue with Aleinu on page 586. And yes, thank you, Susan. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goraleinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו אמת מלכנו אפס תורתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת הינוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו You may be seated. As we get ready to say the mourner's Kaddish, there just seems to be so much loss in the community right now. So it's very special that we can be together just to be in community as we grieve together, both for our loved ones and for the people in our greater Jewish world. Is there anybody here who is in their week of Shiva? How about Shaloshim? Anybody online in Shaloshim or Shiva? Anybody in their first year of mourning who's with us tonight? Thank you. You see another hand? Yes? Thank you. And
Joan Friedman, first year of mourning.
thank you. And I'm maybe some of you know this, I'm not sure, but the Gelman family, Irving Gelman was the founder of Tarbut V'Torah. He was actually the energy behind it. He and his beloved wife, Rochelle. And, you know, when he passed away, I think in 2016, it was a great loss to the community. And Rochelle just passed away a week ago, and her funeral is this week. And so I just want to honor Rochelle's, you know, memory. And yes, Elaine.
Sorry, that's it.
Yeah, and
Passed away this past week,
right.
and she has been buried Sunday is the funeral. A young woman of 50 years old whose parents and family were very active
Of course.
in
At B'nai Israel, and part of the community for many, you know, they were actually part of the founding families, and you might have been too, for the precursor to Tarbut, JSI, the precursor to Tarbut V'Torah. And Michelle, Sari's sister, teaches now at TV.
Michelle and my daughter Eliana met there and continued their relationship, lived in Los Angeles together, and are still best friends.
I'm just, first of all, I've been thinking about you, and I'm so sorry for your whole group of friends, and of course Esther and Andy. There's no words.
And we will all be there, my daughter, my son-in-law, and the two girls that flew in from New York.
Is Sari being buried in California?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. And the funeral is when? Sunday.
At noon
Okay.
at the shul. I don't know.
Okay, the service, and then at Harbor Lawn. Okay, that a terrible loss.
4, sorry.
Okay,
4 o'clock.
okay.
You're right.
Thank you. May her memory be for a blessing. We're also remembering Danny Silver, Carl Hirsch, Sterling McGrady, Mary Robinson, Esther Jordan, William Sherman, Hy Pesner, Rosalie Fialikoff, David Richter, Jeanette Page, James Irvin, Herb Weissman, Samuel Jacobson, Edward Miller, and Howard Rose. Samuel Block and Nathan Kansigor. Let me see if there's anybody else on this page. Tehizi Chram Baruch, may their memories endure as a blessing. I invite those of you who are saying Kaddish to rise and join me in this memorial prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah
Amen.
v'alma divra kir'utei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael v'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba Mavorach la'olam olamei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'rechu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May be seated. Scott, do you want to go pass out the grape juice and the wine? And while you do that, I will make the announcements.
Sure.
While this is passing out, and then we'll make Kiddush together, and we have a fun closing song. First of all, it's so great to have like a group tonight, and I know you came for the congregational meeting, which was super duper important. I'm sorry, but consider coming back because Fridays here are really sweet and fun, and it's beautiful to have more people here. Yes.
So whenever you're ready, I'm going to make the announcement.
Oh, good. I didn't realize.
Not
Okay.
the announcement.
Oh, okay.
Congregational vote announcement.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the votes came in. 80 approved hiring Rabbi Mati, 13 opposed it, and 2 abstentions. So the congregation approved hiring Rabbi Mati Kirschenbaum.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom.
It's very exciting, and I feel not only for your community, but also for the greater Jewish community to have someone as special as Rabbi Mati to sort of enrich the palette of rabbinic leadership in our community. So what's coming up? I know you're all excited. There's going to be an Afikomen scavenger hunt tomorrow. Mitch, are you going to be part of the scavenger hunt tomorrow? Okay, all right. And so that's happening. At the Tri-City Park, you can journey through the story of Passover in an effort to find the hidden Afikomen. Everybody's welcome, Lila. You don't have to be in the religious school. You can go too. Now, and also, Lila, everybody that if you've been thinking you've been missing your, no, I'm good. If you've been missing, your calling on the stage, Hilltop Players is holding its second day of auditions this coming Sunday, the 2nd from 11 to 12:30, and then we're going to have their first rehearsal. Please come. It is really a fun community building experience, and we'd love to have you there, and she'll accommodate your rehearsal needs. We are going to have the best Seder here ever, led by Rabbi Miriam and Cantor Gabrielle on Thursday, and even though the deadline has closed for making your reservations, if you're like me and you were like, I wanted to call, but I forgot because I was, right? Then you could still call and there might be room for you at the table. I'm not sure. Emma may say no, but there might be a few seats left. Okay, and then there's a teen trip, so I just think this is exciting that we're doing this, to the Museum of Tolerance on April 16th. There's also, by the way, on April 16th, an interfaith youth iftar at Pacifica Institute, and I'm going to get you information because if someone can't go to the Museum of Tolerance, it would be great. And I was actually super smart And I didn't drink wine at the open house, but I poured myself a glass for Kiddush. So here we go. I'm just, no, I brought my own. There's going to be a teen trip to the Museum of Tolerance, and I think that's it. We're also going to have, really important, but not here, we're going to have a beautiful program for Yom HaShoah we're going to light candles on the 18th, and then on the day of the 19th, which is actually Yom HaShoah, I believe, we're going to read 5,000 names. We're all going to be signing up. You can sign up for 15 minutes, 1-5, and where you come and you read, and we're going to be part of a team of people around the world who are going to read the names of the 6 million, but Temple Beth Tikvah is going to do 5,000 of them. How do people sign up for that? Do you know, Sue?
The information will come out after this.
Okay, but put that on your radar because it's going to be a great mitzvah. And without further ado, I invite you to rise for Kiddush. Yom HaShishi vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayakadesh oto Kivo Shabbat mikol malachto, asher bara Elohim lasot. Savri chaverai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, B'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Chaim. Very good. And now we're going to close with a Adon Olam on 625. Let's see if you can figure this out. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra li'eh nasa b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nivra azai melech shemo Sameach.
It worked out really good.
Good to see you. Can you hear me? I just want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope you'll join us again tomorrow. And just all good things to you and your families at this Pesach holiday.